Hey guys, it's Dukon Red 1 and welcome to the next installment of the Dukonians Survival series. This time we are going to be on the Kingdoms of Conquest server hosted by I Like to Get Wrecked. We are going to be using the Conquest Reforged mod. Now, I know that sounds very frustrating to use in survival, but I Like to Get Wrecked has actually made a supplementary mod that makes survival recipes for Conquest Reforged very easy to get. So basically, now we can use a block, we can use a stonecutter's block, bench, should I say, to now access these recipes in a very easy manner. We can take base foundation blocks that are in the vanilla game, and then we put them in the stonecutter's bench, and then it will give us the varieties of the different models and textures and everything that you can get in the Conquest Reforged mod. So this ultimately gives us a very easy solution for the Conquest Reforged mod survival compatibility. So I'll be honest, originally I was a little skeptical about giving this a try, but in fact this is the second installment of the Kingdoms of Conquest server. The first one actually started about a year ago. Now, I have seen the results of that first installment, and my goodness, the creations, the community, the building possibilities that are achievable with this mod is just astounding. I did not think that this level of quality would be possible in survival, and here it is right before our eyes, and I just find that absolutely incredible. Wrecked has really brought the community together here, and I just can't thank him enough for giving us this opportunity to do it yet again, and this time I get to join in. So what we're going to be using for our map, we're not going to be using default terrain. We're going to be using a mod called the Terraforged mod. This gives us this unique world. It's a random generated world that just gives us a much more atmospheric terrain to build our creations on. Unlike default terrain where there's a lot of holes and a lot of randomness and floating things, it just doesn't really fit with the Conquest Reforged style. Whereas Terraforged just gives us such a better landscape to foundation our builds on. So Kingdoms of Conquest is actually going to be a populated server. It's not just going to be us, the Dukonians there. You're going to have I Like to Get Wrecked, you're going to have Fix It, you're going to have many content creators from across the community, even outside the community. They're coming specifically in to try out the Conquest Reforged survival mod. And we are all going to be building together, and the idea is that Wrecked is going to be building a spawn town. The Dukonians are going to go and we're going to build a village, and then we're going to come back and help with the spawn town. The idea is that we are all going to unite as a community and build just an incredible city or a collection of towns and cities all together on the same continent, and just make this really cool atmosphere where we can all enjoy together. The goal of this is to work together to not only advertise the Conquest Reforged mod, but also to show that a united community has a lot to offer. So in the description below, I have a list of all the content creators that are participating in this experience. So go over to their channels, support them, and help this community thrive. So something that I specifically want to do for this series is actually introduce to you guys who the Dukonians are. We are not just a group of random people that get together every now and then. The Dukonians are my closest confidants. Even when we are not building together on survival, they are always some of the first people that I ask for advice for different things, whether it's what I'm building, whether it's plans for the future, video editing, any type of advice. I usually always go to them first. So where did we come from? What is our beginnings? Who are we? So in February of 2016, I started a survival series called Dukonia. Shortly after the first episode, F-Whip approached me and asked if I wanted to do a survival series with him. Obviously, I was down, and so he ended up hosting a server for us so that we could bring in others from the community and create a aesthetically pleasing and atmospheric world dedicated to a group sort of environment. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. So to put that into perspective, the only reason that the Dukonians exist is because FWhip decided to make that server 8 years ago. So absolutely huge shout out to FWhip, and I just can't thank him enough for what he has done for this community. So within a few months after the launch, we had many active members, and each were building unique things, castles, manors, monasteries, you name it. We had an incredible world in the making. There was roads connecting everything, and everyone was just having an incredible time. Unfortunately, shortly after, I ended up leaving to go back to Conquest Reforged, and that server ended up going by the wayside after a short while. In 2018, the next installment of the Dukonian Survival Series happened, and that was called Dukonians Rising. Dukonians Rising was on King Elight's Conquest of Vanilla server. Now, what was unique about that server was it wasn't just Dukonians. There were many from across the community that came in. They created their own clans, their own cities and villages, their own castles, and so the Dukonians came together and we built what was called Queensdale, and then I was working on another project towards the end called Fairchester to the far north. Unfortunately, it's on this series where I took my 3-year break. And so here we are now, April of 2022, and we are on the Kingdoms of Conquest server. So super excited to see what happens. So now what I want to do is I want to specifically introduce each of our current active members. And then as others rejoin our group and as others join our group in general, I will introduce them in later episodes. First, we have this Thomas. He is, in fact, the brains of our group and absolutely an incredible person. Thomas has been with us since the beginning, since the first Dukonia. He is a highly motivated builder and he is an absolute machine when he puts his mind to it. I can't imagine this group without him. He is an artist at heart, and I'll be honest, we all kind of consider him a leader, and he's a true friend. Thomas is something of a survival expert, so we are quite lucky to have him with us on this journey. Next on the list is Mesophila. Meso is our golem and truly a fantasy connoisseur. She as well has been with us since the beginning, always being one of the first to join in our adventures. Meso is incredible when it comes to out-of-the-box ideas, preferring higher fantasy styles and details. Meso is the beating heart of the Dukonians, and I am proud to call her as such. Django is next on the list, and let me tell you, he is our hyperactive lore master, preferring to go big or go home. You guys should really see the messages he sends me over Discord. It's always, hey, I see you're building some thatch huts. Hey, let's build a city that's the size of a continent. I love you, Django. You're the best. Anyways, he strongly prefers a fantasy Byzantine style in reference to his home project of Belferon. Django streams every now and then, and I'm hoping again soon, so go check him out and support him. Django is nothing but remarkable when it comes to lore writing and concept development. Honestly, I can't imagine the Dukonians without Django. It just would not be possible. Next on the list is Timotheus 4E. Tim is truly an amazing individual. I just simply would not be where I am without his support and help. When I was on my alternate account, that was just before I came back as Dukon, for 3 years I was on an alternate account. Well, anyways, I was really wanting to play some survival, and after the Conquest of Vanilla server closed down, Tim took it upon himself to host the successor survival server to that called Conquest Style. The Dukonians continued here, and we had some really good times. On this server, I built one of the most significant projects that I have done on this server. It's called Fort Andrew. It's a colonial fort, and I named it after my son. And that fort is going to stick with me for forever. I truly enjoyed that experience, and the fact that Tim made a server that I could be able to build that on, just I can't thank him enough for making that possible. In addition to that, he is actually hosting the server of which we are building the concepts for our Kingdoms of Conquest style and plans. So to Tim, thank you so much for all that you have done for this group. And I am excited that he will be joining us in our upcoming journey. Secleton is our plague doctor. He has been with us ever since the first Dukonia, and he has truly been an integral part of our group ever since. We can always depend on Secleton for his loyalty, and he always tends towards laboratories and lore-specific building that fit his character. I will always remember the time when he helped me dig the moat around Fort Andrew. He spent such an incredible amount of time helping with that, so huge shout out to him for doing that. Even with a broken hand, he broke his hand recently, Secleton is determined to be with us on the Kingdoms of Conquest server, even if that means only using his thumb to move around. I also want to make a special mention to Von Tool. Von was actually the first to join F-Whip and I on the first Dukonia. I don't think you can go any farther back than that, so he will always have an esteemed position among our group. Through the years, Vaughn and I have built together, played games outside of Minecraft together, and overall have had some really good times. I just can't say enough how happy I am to see him with us again on this upcoming adventure. Our next member, Fingolfin, joined us in Dukonians Rising. He is an absolute legend when it comes to building. He has more projects under his belt than I could possibly count, and like Thomas, he is a survival expert. When Fing has his mind set on something, he will make it happen no matter what. We are lucky to have him with us, and I am looking forward to seeing what he builds in the coming days. Kurgon, our friendly neighborhood orc, town merchant, and fireworks enthusiast, has been with us since the original Dukonia days. He is a talented artist and actually is credited to making quite a few of the custom armors, weapons, and items that we get to enjoy in Conquest. Kurgon brings so much life to the Dukonians, and I am looking forward to seeing his shop on Kingdoms of Conquest. How is he going to rip us off this time around? Between the original Dukonia and Dukonians Rising, there was a server called Darwinia that was preparing to launch, but it never did. Anyways, we won't talk about that. During this phase, Saltheart joined us and became known as our friendly giant. We used to have a mod that allowed us to adjust our player models, and so Salt adjusted his to be a block taller than everyone else. Therefore, we designed structures to fit his size, and he became something of an icon for the Dukonians. Fortunately, even after many years and a by-chance meeting, Salt has rejoined our ranks and will continue to be our giant as we adventure into new lands. A fish without fins is one of our recent additions, but truly a remarkable individual. Fins has quite a history, including being an overseer in Artecraft, leading the Owlbird project in Rohan. Before I came back as Dukons, Fins found me on my alternate account live streaming. Yes, I was in fact live streaming. I was making a world painter map. He has experience with World Machine, and so he offered to put my world painter map through it to create better erosion and smooth out any of the inconsistencies, and man, it helped big time. And as an honorable mention, the thumbnail for my Breaking Silence video, the one that I made my announcement of coming back to YouTube and content creation, that thumbnail was actually his. Well, the screenshot was. And I just felt it was a perfect fit for what I was trying to portray with that video. So anyways, I couldn't be more proud to now call him a fellow Dukonian. Frar is another recent addition, but I can't stress enough how happy I am that he has joined our ranks. I met Frar on my alternate account a couple years ago on the Conquest of Vanilla server after I quit my channel. From survival server to survival server, he kept coming along and building magnificent builds that blew me away. What always amazed me about him is his persistence and dedication to a project. When everyone else would be off doing other things, Frar always continued, always pressed forward and did not stop. I asked him kind of out of the blue if he wanted to join us, and to my surprise, he agreed. So I couldn't be more happy, and I am excited to see what he does. Our final introduction goes to Boitmew. Boit has been with us since Dukonians Rising and is actually a content creator. He is a French speaker, so if you speak French, his content will be perfect for you. Boit is an amazing individual, builder and YouTuber. He has actually been in the community for a very long time. I remember his videos from when I first started YouTube, and I think even before, if I'm not mistaken. And it is really cool to see him continuing, and now even joining us on our adventures on Kingdoms of Conquest. So I wanted to show you guys what you're going to be expecting for the Dukonians Reforged series. So the owner of Kingdoms of Conquest, I Like to Get Wrecked, wanted to go for a primitive style. Originally he said Edoras, and I wanted to go off that style and have a primitive sort of environment for our build. And eventually everything ended up coming towards Celtic Iron Age in the end. But we started over here with a bunch of different concepts and designs. As you can see, very rudimentary, very basic. When we transferred from 1.15 to 1.16, there's a lot of mess ups over here in the older sections, but that's no big deal. So what we want to do is we want to make a fishing village that is nearby a river or a bay, and then we want to build a as of right now, we want to make a small fishing village. The idea is that we would have 3 communal dwellings, 3 small granaries. When I say small, I mean like these. 3 small granaries, a storehouse, so something like this, maybe a little bit bigger, a storehouse, and 1 council building, which is right here. And then on the attached to the dwellings and nearby would be like workshops, would be like a blacksmith, maybe a smelter, a sail maker, maybe a fish smoker, some kind of carpentry things. So ideally we would have a village that would be populated. So what we're going to be doing is building an Iron Age style village, as you can see right here. This is one of our first concept. Well, this is our first concept. This is our second. So Thomas is actually the one. Thomas is actually the one that came up with our style. I really like this sort of bell-shaped roof style that we see here. We started with all of these over here, and then ultimately, when Thomas built this, we were all like, we have to go with that. And so the rest of us then started to try to figure out ways to add organic to the overall style of the roof. And eventually we came up with, stuff like this. This house right here is a good example. And this one by A Fish Without Fins is a good example, where it just becomes very fantasy. But ultimately, we still sort of have that bell-shaped roof, and it just really is an interesting style. So, I mean, I know it's a very rudimentary and rustic style. It's, Iron Age, that's just the way it is. But when we put this into an environment and we put details down and everything, it should look really, really awesome. Here's another couple designs. This one's by Boitmew right here, a house by Boitmew. This one is by Saltfire. So Saltfire is our giant. So his house reflects that, in that he has a very large bed and a very large fireplace. And so in our lore, Saltheart is a giant, and he's actually a giant also because we have a mod called More Player Models, which allows us to change the models of our players. So this is a mausoleum by Boitmew. Really liked how this turned out. Very, very nice. It's just really cool to see the concepts all coming together. When you have concepts like this built before you start a survival playthrough, it really helps in coordination and keeping things going. Here's some more granary ideas here, so that's pretty nice. This is our central fire pit. This was designed by Secleton. He did a really good job with this. Got these monolithic stones because it's kind of a stereotype for Celtic culture, Iron Age culture, to have these sort of monolithic circular meeting spots, and that's kind of what we want to do there. And we want to add fantasy into it. We don't want it to be strictly realism. We want to try to throw in a lot of fantasy to give it some spice. So this is the next concept. So this is our council building here, and then on the side would be Saltheart's Saltheart's home. And as you can see, he's the giant, and he has a large door to get out of and everything. And come inside here. This is the council building. It's not very detailed, but Saltheart actually put in all of this scaffolding, or this all the trusses and the roof work, whatever that's called. So he did a really good job with that. So yeah, 3 dwellings, 1 council building, 3 small granaries, and a storage building. Alrighty, well here we are on launch day. I think we had 9 Dukonians turn out for launch. The others were busy, had weekend plans, but we had an absolute incredible launch. If you guys want to watch the live stream, the past broadcast, it is linked in the description showing how and what exactly happened on our initial adventures on Kingdoms of Conquest. So the first day was kind of hodgepodge. We were just trying to figure out how to survive. Of course, we didn't have beds or anything, and we were dying left and right from all the mobs. We had skeletons and zombies and whatnot, all trying to get at us. And as you can see right there, Salt dies. And but yeah, we had a lot of fun trying to initially survive the first wave. Anyways, the next morning we went further east. We started traveling east, but what we initially needed was obviously like the basic resources: coal, wood, and we were lucky enough to find a village to get some starter resources. Next, we continued east, and we kind of got all mixed up, and so what I did is I sent a screenshot of my coordinates to everybody, and they all were able to come join me in this location where our quote-unquote starter base was. We didn't know where Wrecked was settling at the time, so we decided just to make a quick base so that we could gather resources, have food, shelter, start finding iron to make armor and weapons and tools. And so this is not our location where we're going to build. This is simply a starter base. And eventually later on, Rek decides where he wants to settle, and that is our sort of deciding point of where we're going to settle, because we're going to settle within 500 blocks of Rek. So eventually, Rek does decide where he's going to settle, and so me, Django, and Vontool begin adventuring to go look for where he decided to be. So just a little bit, I think it was southeast from where we were is where Wrecked is now. This is his current location. As you can see, it's a beautifully crafted plateau high up above the surrounding terrain. And so Wrecked and his team are going to be building a town here. And then eventually the Dukonians will be joining in as well. But we wanted to find specifically a lake nearby or the ocean. So again, our group continued on to look for a place to build. And a long time elapsed here, probably an hour of looking. But eventually we went back to where we started, and we went the opposite direction. And lo and behold, we found our lake. Alrighty, well, after a very long time of searching, the Dukonians finally found a place to settle. So we moved everything from our base back to I think everything from the south, we moved up to our new location, which is right here. So we have done a lot of work, and we are currently in the process of preparing the motte of which our location is built atop. The idea is that this is going to be a sort of Celtic type town, Iron Age style town, as you guys are well aware, and we are going to be doing a moat around it as well. Also, we're going to be digging out a lot of this valley. I've developed a sort of sketched out plan as to what the ideal composition will be in the end. I've done some digging and whatnot, but the walls are coming along. It's going to require a whole lot of dirt, so excavating around is going to make a big difference. So as you can see, this is our location. The overall size of the fort is right here. As you can see, it kind of wraps around. We're going to have the council hall here, a couple or 3 dwellings, storehouse over here, and any miscellaneous things. And obviously, we're going to have the big stone circle in the middle with all of the monoliths and whatnot. So the fishing area will be down here, and there's going to be a front and back gate. And we are actually within 500 blocks of wrecked. So check that out. Well, I mean, 557, but, you know, it's close enough. So we are really close to I Like to Get Wrecked, and so we got a really solid location now. This here is the Spawn City Road, so if you follow those torches, it will lead us to the Spawn City, and we'll quickly come inside here and look around and see what's been going on. Honestly, I haven't seen some of this. Some of this wall is new, but I built the wall last night. But a lot of this is new. This was our initial storage building. It's just a temporary thing that will be brought down as we progress. The cows are new, so we finally got beef. So that is awesome. We got sheep. A lot of the starter resources that we need in order to get a proper beginning here. As you can see also, we have dark oak and spruce trees. And then over here kind of shows us the other parts of the build. This is the back entrance. It will have a very steep entrance leading up to it. But that is purposeful, and it's going to look pretty nice by the time we're done with it. Obviously, this is all going to be a hill by the time we're done. Then also there's going to be this carved out valley in between that hill and the fort here. It's going to be like a gorge type thing, kind of quarried out. And then the idea is that if we have enough interest, we'll go ahead and build what's called a broch or a brooch. I'm not quite sure what the pronunciation is, but it's sort of like a Celtic fortress tower. But it's not very big. It's not going to be very large. So let's go underground and see what we got. So this right here is our water elevator to get down. So if we fall all the way down here and we go in, this is our storage room that Thomas and apparently, I think it was Saltfire, but I know Thomas has been hard at work down here. But we got a storage room, and among other things, there is a wheat farm. We got carrots, we got melons, you name it. We got farms galore, and we're gonna need so much wheat down here. This is just absolutely insane, the amount of work that they've been putting in here. I'm guessing that this is maybe the nether portal there. Looks like Secklinton is busy down there in our iron farm. We got, I'm not quite sure what this is. This is maybe our barrack? Yeah, this is our barrack. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, I love this. This is absolutely incredible. The Dukonians coming together and building just absolutely incredible stuff. So, yeah, super happy with the progress. And as you can see, I guess we can't see the underground, but you can see in the top left, you can kind of see the layout of our underground base. We got an enchantment room there, and I'm sure we'll be adding more as we go along here. But this is really exciting to see this progress. I'm assuming that the iron farm is down here. Yeah, I'm sure that's probably what this is, because we need a whole lot of iron in order to... yeah, there we go. We got some iron already. But that was one of the big projects that the guys did today, was develop an iron farm. Alrighty guys, well there is the layout and the overall plan for our village here. So obviously it's not much right now. There is still a lot left to do. Obviously we just started, so you can't really expect much more than that. But the Dukonians are working fast. There's already a lot of progress. The underground base is already pretty much set up. All the logistics are situated, and we got everything that we need. We got our lake and we got our village, so we are extremely excited. And I just want to give a special thank you and shout out to I Like to Get Wrecked for giving us this opportunity. So guys, if you are interested in joining in this project, I'm not saying that you can, but you have a chance to. And if you are interested in trying out this server, go to I Like to Get Wrecked Discord listed in the description below, and you can ask there. Otherwise, that's all up to him. So if you want to join in this venture, that's your chance. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Till then, bye-bye.